Can't the United States president use their power to assassinate American rivals, like, say, dissidents, civil rights protesters, or even political opponents, and then claim that that's part of their job so they're legally immune? The answer has always been no, but it's back in the news tonight as Trump officials and nominees face the process of ongoing vetting. We showed you the cabinet meeting. Some people have been, of course, confirmed. Well, today, the Senate grilled John Sauer. Now, he has been picked for a very important DOJ post, the one called Solicitor General, where you argue before the Supreme Court on behalf of the United States. If you watched this program a lot, you might have seen past Solicitors General like Neil Katyal. It's a big job. The name is familiar for the reason I mentioned, because this individual does have the relevant experience. I've told you about officials who don't. He does. He's a lawyer who has litigation experience and has argued previously before the Supreme Court, including on behalf of then-defendant Donald Trump in the notorious case that was trying to seek new and broader immunity for a former president. The headlines were bad. The open discussion, the advocacy, really, of legal immunity even for assassinations in the United States, and that was a source of major grilling at the hearing today.
Could a president who ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival who was not impeached, would he be subject to criminal prosecution?
If he were impeached and convicted first. And
so your answer is no.
He could order the use of his office to use violence against a political opponent, and you would defend his ability to do that in any criminal prosecution unless he's impeached. Is that your testimony?
The hypothetical you've offered respectfully is so outlandish. I don't know if I'm in a position to address it.
Well, you addressed it for the court, but you won't address it for the country in this hearing?
I think I've just said exactly the same response that I gave
Okay, then
the court,
exactly the same response is that you would evidently defend him.
Is it outlandish? You can watch a congressional hearing and say, oh, these are the politicians, but as was correctly pointed out, and we played you the archival court sound so you can remember, this came up from a judge, quite seriously, because remember, the places that presidential actions are tested are not in the main heart of legitimate activity, like enforcing the law or making hard foreign policy decisions. They're tested at or outside the bounds. For example, a former president who has been returned to office, Donald Trump, was caught trying to overthrow a lawful election. And so there was a federal case about it. As you know, with the immunity granted in this matter, then defendant Trump, presumed innocent at the time under our system, never went to trial. But the question was about overthrowing the election, not conducting traditional foreign policy or a meeting with your own employees. And so Sauer saying it's outlandish is itself not very credible. And he's not the only person who's defended Donald Trump on criminal allegations now getting the ultimate reward, a top government job. We can show you Trump appointees who have been selected and are in or slated to be in top government positions, from the Attorney General of the United States to her deputy to the current acting deputy. So that's the three people who run the DOJ effectively. To Solicitor General, as I just told you, one of the top DOJ posts dealing with the Supreme Court, to White House counselors, staff secretary, and the VA. Pam Bondi defended Trump at the very first impeachment trial, which again was about allegations not of legitimate foreign policy, but a shakedown or bribe of a country that continues to be very important on the world stage, Ukraine. Todd Blanche, up tomorrow for Deputy AG, defended the president in that New York case. Emile Beauvais worked on those cases and is up at DOJ, the others that you see in those key offices. Remember, everybody has the right to counsel in our country, and that obviously includes Donald Trump, the former president. And you've never heard on this program any suggestion that he shouldn't have his legal counsel, that he's legally presumed innocent, that he can hire the best lawyers he can get. That's all fine. But you pay those lawyers and you move on. What we're seeing here is a level of repeat public rewarding with not Donald Trump's money, this is important, with your money, with taxpayer dollars, and a type of loyalty or partisanship being pushed at very powerful public posts.
They are here saying that the president must be impeached and removed from office for raising a concern.
The jury should have found President Trump not guilty. I mean, in my soul, I believe that.
We're here because of something that happened when he was in the White House that wasn't even wrong.
We'll never stop fighting because we will stop the steal.
That reference to stopping the steal is a false statement about an election that was lawfully determined to be lost by President Trump, the outgoing president, and won by President-elect Biden. That's Ed Martin. Now, he defended January 6 defendants and later convicts, but he was at that Stop the Steal rally, which, of course, was the public precursor on the eve of what became an insurrection. Now he's the top D.C. prosecutor, which most legal experts, regardless of party, think is completely upside down. And he, breaking all traditions and demands of public, nonpartisan rule of law tradition, says, no, I'm just Trump's lawyer, still here. DOJ attorneys do not represent the president. The DOJ is also trying to take the pardons that Trump issued, which are opposed by most Americans, and broaden them to defend even more criminal conduct. You take this all together, and you have something troubling on our hands. And you have the rewarding of these individuals. And you have an effort to take your government that your tax dollars support, that is supposed to be neutral, independent, and nonpartisan, and turn it into something else. So, I've told you before, these are a bundle of stories and developments that sometimes the White House does not want you to see. They're doing other counter-programming.
Uncharted territory, and it's incredibly dangerous. As a former federal prosecutor, I took an oath, but that oath was about the United States. My client was not any president, it wasn't any individual, it was justice. And what's so dangerous when we look at, for example, A.G. Bondi, is the concept that she could be testing her loyalty, picking between what is best for the American people and what is best for President Trump. And that conflict, if President Trump wins, the American people lose. And the other thing I'll add is one of the roles that we've seen here in the decline of the rule of law with this current president is that it is pervasive everywhere. We are seeing it from how the Jan 6 pardons are being expanded. We're seeing it when a U.S. attorney in D.C. is calling himself a Trump lawyer. And this spread across our agencies is incredibly dangerous and unprecedented.